Hello, this is Ghulam Mohammad Hussain here. I welcome you all to this presentation on citation metrics. In this presentation, I will briefly discuss about different types of citation metrics, or we call them bibliometrics. So why citation metric is required? It is basically required for assessment of the influence of the published research, for the assessment of individual, institution, for research grant. It is also required for selection of journals and other content for the institution, and to measure the scholarly influence, strengths of the article, journals, scholar or institution. So basically citation matrix is required for evaluation of scientific publications. There are different types of citation metrics. First one is article level metrics, which includes citation counts, alt metrics. Second one is journal based metrics, in which journal impact factor and site score are the most prominent one. Third one include author centric metrics, which include H index and I10 index. Alright, so we will discuss the citation first. So what is citation? A citation is the way you tell your readers that certain information in your work came from another source. It also gives your readers the information necessary to find that source again in future. That is called information retrieval. So a citation should contain information about author, the title of the work, the name and location of the publisher, the date of publication, the page number of the source information you are borrowing. So these all information is necessary for a perfect citation. What is the difference between citation and reference? Suppose if a paper X contain a bibliographic footnote mentioning another paper Y. In such scenario, X paper X contain a reference to paper Y, or we can say that Y has a citation from X. It means suppose we are citing any standard methodology in our research paper which is already published by some other source. So instead of describing full detail of that methodology, we just cite the reference in our paper to that original source instead of describing that full methodology. So that is called that we have cited the original source. So that original source got one citation from our publication. There are chances that other researchers also cite the same methodology in their paper. So total number of citation for a paper Y may be calculated by searching in a citation index and see how many other published paper mentioned or cited this paper. Coming to Google Scholar. Google Scholar provides a simple way to broadly search for scholarly literature. From one place, you can search across many disciplines and sources like articles, theses, books, abstracts, opinion from academic publishers, professional societies or professional bodies, online repositories, universities, and other website related data. You can simply search through single platform. Google Scholar Metrics provide an easy way for authors to quickly measure the visibility and influence of scholarly publication. How it looks like. So here is the Google Scholar profile. I have used my profile for demonstration purpose. So if you simply search on the Google Scholar with a search string of Google Scholar and put a name of any researcher you want to search, then such type of paper, such type of portal appear. In this portal, what you can see, first is the name of the author here, then affiliation here, and then here are your area of research or area of interest. You can include area of interest as per your preferences, and of course you can add one photographs so that people can identify you. Then there is a list of your publication here on the left side, and they have arranged the list of publication based on their citation. So it is basically in the descending orders. So paper having highest citation will be cited first irrespective of their year of publication, which is mentioned here, and then downwards as per their descending order of citation. Then there will be on this right side there are some other parameters like total number of citations. So here is total number of citations. All means right from the beginning of your research, and there is a second column in which since 2005. So these are the citations since 2005. In second row there is H index, which is 9 overall, and since 2015 it is 8. Likewise, another parameter is there which is specific to Google Scholar, that is called I10 index. So I10 index overall is 9, since 2015 it is 7 in this case. And here is a graphical representation of different citations in yearly manner. So total number of citation for 2020 is here. Likewise, we can get other citations based on their year. In the below side we can add various settings, like we can add our co-authors here. So it is a very simple and straightforward uh, profile of a researcher which can be easily made on the Google Scholar. So as we have seen in the Google Scholar just now that there is a parameter called H index. So what is H index? So H index is basically a author centric parameter or author centric citation matrix. So it is also known as Hirsch index, as it was introduced by J. Hirsch in 2005. The H index is an author level metric that measures both the productivity and citation impact of a publication of a scholar. A researcher has an H index if he has at least H number of publications for which he has received at least H citations. For example, a researcher has an H index of 12 if he has published at least 12 documents for which they have received at least 12 citations for each document. Next parameter is I10 index. I10 index is the newest in line of the general metrics and was introduced by Google Scholar in 2011. It can be author centric, it can be general centric. So it is a simple and straightforward indexing measure. I10 index is the total number of published paper with at least 10 citations. Now in next slide we will see how to calculate the H index and I10 index. So suppose there are two researchers, researcher A here and researcher B here. If we see, both of these researcher has total number of citation 50. So but they have different H index. Why? First we will see how to calculate H index. So if we see in the center, here it is serial number 1 to 7. First we will see for researcher B. So researcher B has 7 publication. First publication having 30 citations, second having 11, so on and so forth. And last publication has 1 citation only. So to calculate H index, we have to compare serial number with number of citation, and where the serial number is less than the number of citation, that is the H index. For example, for researcher B, at serial number 2 the citation is 11, but at serial number 3 for third paper there are only 2 citation here. So 2 is less than serial number, so H index of the researcher B will be 2, we can see here. Likewise, I10 index, as I just described, that at least 10 citations. How many publication of a researcher have which have at least 10 citations? So if we can observe that researcher B have only 2 publication having more than 10 citation. So its H index is again 2. I10 index is again 2. Now coming to the researcher A here. So researcher A is again have total number of publication total number of citation 50, and 7 publication they have citation arranged in the reverse order, starting from first paper which is having 11 citations, second 10, so on and so forth. So in this case, if we see at serial number 5, article number 5 got 6 citation, but when we move to serial number 6 here, it received only 3 citation. So here serial number is more than the number of citation of this paper. So we have to see, we have to assign H index here, that is where researcher have the more number of citation compared to its serial number. So H index for this particular author is 5. While I10 index, we can see at least 3 papers are showing citation 10 or more. So I10 index will be 3. So if we compare both researcher here, then it will be author or researcher A has H index of 5, while author B or researcher B have an H index of 2. Similarly, I10 index is 3 in case of A and I10 index is 2 in case of B. So overall both researcher have 50 citation, but you can see H index varies and it is significantly different, and so is the I10 index. So when they both researcher may apply for a same position, and if at all the committee decided on the basis of H index, which is the case in majority of the selection, so that time researcher A might have some edge over researcher B. So this is how we can simply calculate H index and I10 index. Just we have to arrange our article in their decreasing number of citation, and we have to see at which point our citation is more than the serial number of that article. That will be our H index, and I10 index articles having 10 or more citations. It is simple. Now coming to the journal based metrics. So two major journal based metrics are journal impact factor and CITE score. The impact factor is a product of Clarivate Analytics, which is again called as Science Citation Index, which was formerly part of Thomson Reuters. It provided a unique objective means of rating journals based on their citations and quickly became a standard measure of the journal's quality. Later on in 2016, Elsevier launched a new journal metric which is known as citation score. The two companies have competing bibliographical citation databases in Scopus, which is an Elsevier owned product, while the database used by Clarivate Analytics for impact factor calculation is known as Web of Science. These metrics are highly criticized because of lack of correlation between their values and the real importance of the articles. Now we will discuss in more detail the impact factor. So journal impact factor, or simply called as impact factor, is well-known citation metric that was created early in 1950. Clarivate Analytics began to publish journal citation report in 1975 as a part of Science Citation Index and Social Science Citation Index. The JCR, or Journal Citation Report, provides quantitative tool for ranking, evaluating, categorizing and comparing journals. The journal impact factor is published through the Journal Citation Report and is calculated from data compiled in the Web of Science database, thus covering approximately 11,000 journals with an estimated around 2.2 million articles. You can imagine the number. If you want to search the master list journals which are indexed in Web of Science, here is the link. Now, how to calculate journal impact factor? It is very simple. The annual general citation report impact factor is a ratio between citations and recent citable items published. The impact factor of a journal is calculated by dividing the number of current year citations to the source item published in that journal during previous 2 years. So suppose citation appearing in 2019 to the article published in the journal in 2018 and 2017, because we take just 2 previous years. Suppose there are 200 citation in the 2 years which appears in next year, that is in 2019, and total number of citable items in the journal published in those 2 years is suppose 100. So we can simply divide this 200 by 100, and this will be the journal impact factor for that particular year. So journal impact factor is released yearly. What are the limitations? Since the impact factor is derived from journal index in the Web of Science, no other journal can have an impact factor. This is very important, that apart from journals which are indexed in the Web of Science database, no other journal can have authentic impact factor. Whatever the journals they claim impact factor, that is not an authentic impact factor. They might have calculated based on their own database, that could not be valid one. Since the impact factor only look at the citation in the current year to the article in the previous 2 years, it only work well for discipline in which rapid citation is a standard. Rapid citation is a standard only in the science journal, but it may not be valid for, or it may not be true reflection of the quality in disciplines where the journal publication is quite slow, for example arts and other social science journals. It does not take into account disciplinary differences in expected number of citations. So you cannot compare the impact factor of one discipline to another discipline. So across the discipline comparison is not possible in impact factor. There is no JCR for art and humanities, therefore no impact factor for these journals. And one of the major limitation is that you need to require subscription of Web of Science or Clarivate Analytics to access the journal citation report. So that is a very much limiting factor for this impact factor. Now coming to the second factor, that is also known as CITE score. So as I said, it is an Elsevier product. Elsevier launched the new citation metric in 2016, and it is calculated with around 23,000 journal index in Scopus, which contains approximately 70 million articles. So it is a huge database compared to Web of Science, which contain around 20 million articles. The calculation of CITE score for the current year is based on the number of citations received by a journal in that year for document published in the journal in past 3 years, divided by the total document published in those 3 years. So here the window period is 3 years instead of 2 years, which was in impact factor calculation. So accordingly we can calculate CITE score. For example, in 2019 we can calculate the CITE score for 2019 of a journal. So number of citation to all items. One more important thing is that it describe about all item rather than citable item. So all item published in previous 3 years, that is 2016, 2017 and 2018, divided by number of all item published in 2016, 2017 and 2018, that is 3-year window period. So that will be the CITE score for that particular article, for that particular journal, because it is a journal based metric. Now coming to the benefits of the CITE score. It is free to access on the Scopus Journal Metrics website. so no subscription is required in this case. It is calculated from Scopus journal list, which is much larger than the Web of Science list and include more social science and humanities journal. That is an advantage for CiteScore, and it provide 3-year citation window rather than 2-year window of the impact factor. So the slow publication discipline will also reflect good correlation here. Now we will discuss comparison between impact factor and CiteScore. Similarities, as we can say that both metrics based on almost similar principle. Only difference is that they offer 2-year window for impact factor, while CiteScore there is 3-year factor, but more or less same methodology is used for calculation of these metrics. Then update frequency is similar, means both impact factor and CiteScore released annually. However, I would like to mention that CiteScore is updated on the Scopus database monthly basis, and finally they assign a annual score. Then differences, first is that window period, in case of impact factor it is 2-year, and in case of CiteScore it is 3-year. Major difference is transparency in calculation. So calculation in general impact factor are based on hidden data. They are opaque and their quality used to calculate the impact factor was criticized. Easy access to complete list of cited and citing record used to calculate a given impact factor is not possible even with full access to the Web of Science. So this is the very limiting factor associated with impact factor calculations. However, in contrast, citing and cited documents are available through a single click distance for Scopus subscribing institution or individual in CiteScore. So suppose I want to see which article of mine has been cited by whom, we can get this data just by clicking on the citing articles. It is freely available online. So we can say that CiteScore is somewhat more transparent compared to impact factor calculation. Again, number of published article in a given period of time. So scientometricians have difficulties identifying the number of articles published by a journal in that year. Since the 1980s, the journal impact factor calculation have defined the denominator by using an algorithm based on a number of criteria to allocate points to the contribution as a proxy for amount and type of information the article contains. In simple language, what we can see here, in impact factor calculation we have seen citable item. So what is that citable item include in the impact factor calculation? So Web of Science assign an algorithm based metric to a particular article type. Not all article types which are published in Web of Science are considered as citable items, because there might be some articles, maybe the author's opinion or editorials or some short communications which do not contain ample amount of evidence. So Web of Science consider those type of article as non-citable items, and it based on an algorithm which take into consideration various type of factors. They screen out of all publications how much are citable items, and it will be more clear when I will give you an example of Lancet in next slides. So major thing is that in CiteScore calculation all articles are considered under the denominator, but in impact factor calculation only citable items are taken under the denominator. That is the major difference. Another difference is, as I said, that Web of Science contains around 11,000 journals, while Scopus database contains around 23,000 journals, and around 70 million research articles. Alright, we will see the example of Lancet in this slide. Lancet is a very renowned journal. So as per 2016 Journal Citation Report, the Lancet published 309 citable items in 2015 and 271 citable items in 2014, and was cited around 13,983 times in 2015 and 13,759 times in 2014 by article published in 2016. So if we calculate the impact factor for this based on these parameter, it will be around 47.831. But if we will see the figures in the PubMed for the same publication, that is Lancet, so for PubMed, for article published in the Lancet, it shows 1992 article for 2015 and 1770 for 2014 compared to 309 and 271 as per impact factor report. That is the data of from Web of Science. And if we take from PubMed, so total number of article is this much, and these are citable items here. So accordingly, if we calculate the impact factor based on this data, so it will be around 7.374. So it will be a huge difference in this case. And in contrast, if we see the CITE score for the same publication, that is Lancet in 2016, so based on the CITE score calculation and data which is available on the CITE score database of Scopus, so for that same period CITE score is 6.93. So we can see the difference based on the method of calculation in these two parameters, same journal having different scores. So that is that's why they are sometimes criticized by several authors, because they have a different method of calculation of impact factor and CITE score. Now in the next section slides, I will give you a brief idea how to create Google Scholar profile. It is very simple. I think most of you already have a Google Scholar profile. If anybody is not having, they can simply create Google Scholar profile. Just click on the Google search and click Google Scholar. So it will take you to this screen. Then this screen will appear. If you enter your email and click next here, you will see this window. In this you put your name here and affiliation, email for verification purpose, areas of interest, and home page. It is optional. So after filling this information, you have to click next here. So this window will be appearing. It will populate the list of publication with your name. So whatever name you have put here, it will search in the Google Scholar database and populate the list. Now you have to select your publication from this list and click here. Then you may get additional setting here. One important setting is make your profile public. So you have to make tick in this tick mark and click on the done here. So such profile will appear, which contain your name, your affiliation, your email address. It will show not verified. You have to verify it. You mostly it will you have to have one institutional email. Simple Google or Rediff or Yahoo email will not suffice. So your email will not be verified until and unless it has a domain specific email. Then you can add your picture here, and most important thing is that it will populate the list here in their descending order of citations. So higher the citation will appear first irrespective of their year of publication. Then there is a very important feature here, plus sign. if you click on this plus sign, you can add your publication either through searching the title or manually addition option is also there. On the right side, you have all your citation metrics. You have total citations, H-index, I-10 index, and these graphs represent your year-wise citations. Coming to another very important ID which I can say is ORCID. So ORCID is simple. You can simply click on the search on the Google ORCID and this page will appear. It is also free to register. You can simply register here with your email and affiliation, and you can pull out your publication list as well as experience and all information related to your professional activities here. All project related details can also be added here. So ORCID is very much required when you are communicating your research finding in a good publication, good journal. So they ask in advance your ORCID, so that they can know about your affiliation, your research activities, and all other things. Another very important sort of database is PubMed index journals. So if you search again on the Google, you will come into this page, and you can search here whatever the journal you want to see, whether they are in the PubMed or NLM list or not. It is also very authentic database. Now coming to the Scopus. So this is the Scopus dashboard. If you open, the dashboard will appear like this. You can create an account here. It is again free. You can create an account by filling the information. There might be two options. Either you can create an account for your individual or as an institution. Then you can search any author here in this Scopus database. With the author's surname followed by initials, you can search and you can sort out with their affiliations. To know whether a publication is indexed in Scopus or not, you have to search here the title, or you can select ISSN number, then enter the title here and click on the find sources. It will populate the list here, and if you click on the individual journal, it will give you detail about your citation, that journal citation score, and whether or not that is still under coverage of Scopus, because some papers might have not the current coverage. Previously they were under the Scopus but may have been removed, because it Scopus keep on tracking the journal's quality, their ethics, and their publication pattern, and if they found anomalies or irregularities, they remove that from the Scopus database, and they show on the their website that Scopus coverage discontinued. Coming to another one, that is Web of Science Master Journal List. So although other features of the Web of Science are paid one, but for simple understanding whether a particular journal is indexed or not, this much information we can get on the free access from this master list journal, which are included in the Web of Science. So if we put the title here or ISSN of the journal and clicking on the search, it will populate the list of relevant journals. You have to see whether where is your journal of interest, and if it is indexed in this master list, it will be shown here, otherwise your journal will not appear here. So coming to the last, and that is also very important in Indian context, that is called UGC CARE list. CARE is here stands for Consortium for Academic and Research Ethics. So when you open the UGC CARE list web portal, it will appear like this. First you have to create an account here again. You can freely create an account. Then you have to search in the UGC CARE list. Here you have to give the title, here you have to select whether you want to search from title or ISSN, and here you have to put your search string and then click on the search. One important thing is that whatever journals are included in Scopus or Web of Science database, they are already included in UGC care list. Means you will not find those journals here. It is understood that whoever is included in either Web of Science or Scopus, it is already included in the UGC care list. Apart from that, they have prepared a list of journals which in addition to that are indexed in UGC care list, and it keep on changing. They keep tracking the publication, and whenever you are going to communicate any article, you see what is the current status, whether or not that particular journal is currently indexed in that or not. So this is all about the different type of databases and where you can create your researcher profiles like ORCID or Google Scholar profile. Now, take home message for this presentation is: increase the visibility of your research by having a research profile on Google Scholar, Web of Science Researcher ID, ORCID, or Scopus author profile. And my recommendation will be that we must have profile on all of these portals. Then second one, share your research finding on social media platform, because once you share your finding on social media platform, it will keep an immediate notice to your peers, and whoever is interested to your research, they will immediately go to your publication. And how they will go to publication? For that, you have to publish your research and try to publish your research in open access peer review journal. Although nowadays some journals are charging for open access, but still majority of good journals, they don't charge for open access and they are freely accessible to anyone without paying any accession charges. So we should try to publish our journal in open access journals. Then use last is use citation metrics with caution. That is very important, because we cannot just based on any impact factor or any H index or site score, we cannot judge only on these bases. I will give you an example of persons working in the industry. So researcher who has spent around 20 years in an industry, he may not have published as equal to as professors in an academic institution, because researchers in the industry are focused on invention which has to be patented. So they may not publish in open access journal or any journal. Rather, they will try to get it patented because they have commercial interest. They want to commercialize that technology. So in that case, we cannot deny that that person don't have any good H index or don't have publication in high site score or high good impact factor journal. So we cannot judge that that person is not have that much research acumen. So that is a caution that all things should be taken comprehensively, and we should not judge any person just based on these parameters like H index, site score, or impact factor, because other factors are also important, and situations of the person working in a industry or in a government office in which you should not get patent. Suppose if it is a defense related technology, so you should not you are not supposed to publish that findings, and instead you will take it as a patent or a secret database for that particular government. So always don't compare just based on these metrics. That is my personal opinion. So that is all here from me for this presentation. You can always post your queries to me either through mail, or I will post this presentation on YouTube. There you can uh, message me. I will try to respond and clarify the doubts if any. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for patient listening. Thank you.